Forward with our next speaker. Anyone need 2 minutes? You all seem pretty content. I will then introduce our next speaker. Yeah, I'll give you a minute. I'll hedge. I'll make stuff up. By the way, my name is Chris, and I didn't get all of your names. So if you could just all of you at the same time, just tell me your first name. Go.
Mary.
It's great to meet you, John, Harry, Jane, Bill. Like I said, everything I'm telling you is from AI. Ron, how are we doing? We good? We good on time? We good? So I'm going to drag this out in several different accents. Yell out an accent you'd like to hear. Australian. Why is Australian always first? Brenda Pottinger is published an award-winning photographer. And is only one of 31 photographers worldwide that have the honor of earning PPA's Master of Wedding Photography degree. Okay. Another accent. What? Country Western? Where was that? She enjoys being a cheerleader for small businesses, loves making her couples happy, shows her clients how beautiful they really are and how their loved ones see them, is why she loves being a photographer. Okay, one more accent. Italian?
Jamaican.
You need Doug to do the Klingon. I'm not a... Yeah. Italian, regardless of your type of a business, Brenda will guide you through the process of planning styled photo shoots that excite your audience. Learn how to weave storytelling into your content strategy to make an impact in your wedding market to increase exposure. That's getting Irish in our mouth. Learn how to weave storytelling into your content strategy to make an impact in your wedding market to increase exposure and boost sales. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Brenda Pottinger.
Thank you, Chris. Awesome. I'm so excited to work and hopefully teach you guys a few things. So I'm going to talk about a blueprint to a styled photo shoot. So I want to take a quick survey of the different fields we have here represented. So DJs, raise your hand. Whoop whoop. I know it's after lunch, guys. Come on. Wedding planners. Okay. Photographers. Okay. Videographers. Whoop whoop. Venues. Ooh, all right. Caterers. Excellent. Florists. Okay. Rental decor. Invitations. Awesome. Other stuff that's really cool. Photo booths. Wedding officiants. So my name is Brenda Pottinger, and I like to think of myself as an artistic director. Now, some of you already know me, some of you don't. I am the firstborn, which means I'm a little bit bossy, but I like to think of myself like a movie director, right? I'm also an event geek. I love events, love weddings. Now, my family, instead of spending money on really expensive vacations, sorry travel agents, or fancy cars, my family likes to throw parties. So we have family from far away. I'm originally from the Louisville area. And so in order for our friends and family to come, they came from Texas, they came from Michigan, way up in the UP, Wisconsin. So my aunts and uncles had to travel 13 hours or so. So my family, and I bet a bunch of you have moms and aunts like this, like to feed people, and we like to celebrate. So we love events. We love events so much that for my high school graduation, I had flowers, I had catered food, I had a tent, I even made favors, which were forget-me-not seeds in hand-painted little flower pots. So we kind of go all out for events. And I also like to think of myself as a photographer that I'm a storyteller and a time traveler. When I was a kid, I learned that I have a superpower. I could take and stop time and later hold it in my hand. What kid doesn't want a superpower? We have that gift that we freeze that 1/60th of a second moment, and later on we can print it and put it in a book or an album, and we can take it out and remember how important that day was, and more importantly, how we felt. So what is your superpower? Now, I am a band nerd at heart, a computer gamer, a board gamer, and I was raised by a dairy farmer. And you're like, Brenda, how does that correlate? Well, let me tell you. So, I'm a big believer you get out of life what you put into it. Now, I don't know about you, during certain times, especially the winter, you might be like playing your board games by yourself or your computer games. But if you really want to get something accomplished, want to get more business, you got to do something, right? You got to go for it. My band director said, you need to go to bed satisfied with everything that you did that day so much that you are tired when your head hits that pillow. Have you guys heard that before? I think that's so important, and we forget about that sometimes, right? You've got to give everything you have and more. Now, it does make you tired, I'm not gonna lie. We all need our rest days too. I love weddings. Why? Because you get a little bit of everything. You walk into this situation and you're like, what am I gonna find? As a photographer, you have to specialize in so many different things. You're taking a picture of a beautiful church, so it's architecture photography. You're doing still life, details of the shoes that she spent money on. How many of you run into, you get there and it's those fancy Jimmy Choo shoes, or you know she spent a lot of money on that bling for the ring. So you've got to be able to do detail and still life photos, right? You got a little bit of commercial photography. You got that dress hanging there, looks so good. She spent money on it. You have portraits, so you've got to make sure the bride looks good, the groom looks good, mother of the bride looks good. You've got the children, which I know everybody has their own philosophy about flower girls and ring bearers, but if you can photograph that kid as it's running by, it's a little bit of sports photography, right? But it's also children's photography. You have group portraits, right? You gotta make sure Aunt Sally looks really good up there at the church altar, because otherwise you'll hear about it. You action, like I said, you've got people running around, especially like our DJs, they decide that we have to do this new photo thing where we run around to each table. Action shots, right? We have low light, we've got crazy lighting situations, right? All day long. You start off, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful in here. You didn't stick me in the dark cabin with no lighting, did you? Maybe they did. And then you go outside and you're like, oh my gosh, it's 2 o'clock and they're having a bright ceremony outside. And the, cement is reflecting back at you. It's like brighter than anything in July. And then you're like, it's nighttime and we're doing a sparkler exit. So you get a little bit of everything, right? One of my favorite quotes by a famous photographer, Jerry Gionis, he said, wedding photographers are one of the only professionals who are paid to practice on their clients. Don't practice on a Saturday. Am I right? Yeah. We need to practice. We need to hone in our craft. We have to make sure our skills are up to par. So when that bride throws us that curveball, we're like, yeah, I got that, no problem. I did that like last weekend, we're good. Don't practice on just a Saturday. So how do you practice for a wedding? Social media on Friday night, what settings should my settings be on my camera? Photographers, videographers, we're in these groups. DJs, right? Thursday night, what do you see on Facebook? Hey guys, I'm shooting my first wedding. I'm DJing my first wedding. I'm officiating my first wedding of my cousin. What forms do I need? I'm sorry, if you're asking me which camera you should be bringing and what your settings are for a wedding the next day, you shouldn't be shooting a wedding, right? But we see it, don't we? We see it like all the time. I only have one camera and one flash. I'm a wedding planner and I don't have enough, stuff in my car, right? We see it all the time. There's another thing that we hear all the time. I have a cousin that could do it for free, right? What's that? Yeah, and you know what I say? I'm like, that's great, you have a professional wedding photographer that just happens to be your cousin? Oh no, he does sports photography. Okay, call me later. But we hear that all the time. And when you hear that, what do you think? You go and check their portfolio, right? They're gonna check your portfolio, they're gonna look at things, they're gonna see how many times have you second shot a wedding. When I look for second shooters, I look at a lot of information. People ask us all the time, how do I get more experience? By shooting, going out and doing what you want to do. You've got to show it to sell it. We personally are very big into training. Our system, is quite a process in that we make them assist at an engagement session and things like that. But styled shoots are great places for people to get that knowledge. Now, a styled shoot is still not a wedding. It's a lot easier to shoot for a couple hours at a perfectly planned styled shoot, but at least it gets people to start practicing. And there is no time to educate someone on a wedding day. Am I right? It's trial by fire. I always tell my second shooters, I'm like, we can talk about it over coffee later, but we're not going to stop and talk about it right then. Another great quote that I love is when I feel like procrastinating, I just picture someone else getting to my idea first. It works every time. How many little ideas do we have? And I really encourage you, while you're seeing some pictures or you're hearing thoughts, write it down. You're like, oh, Brenda, you just triggered that I have to do a board gaming styled shoot, or I've been dying to, I don't know, have an excuse to buy Jimmy Choo shoes and photograph them. I don't know. Whatever kind of pops in your mind, write it down. I want you to think about that. And a lot of these images are from styled shoots. So this is a great example of using, we have those wood sola flowers that the succulents that we repurposed and used them for a second shoot, which was super fun. It is a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie. Anything worth having, worth doing is a lot of work, right? If everybody could do it, everybody would already be out there doing it and not in this room, right? It's a lot of work. But you know what I say? Just do it. Get over it. The time is gonna pass anyway, so we might as well have fun and just do it. So yeah, when you're strategizing, I encourage you, take one day a week that you give up social media for 6 hours or 8 hours, work on your content. That means not scrolling and looking, that means actually working on your business and getting content prepared. But guess what? By doing that, when you do get back on, you're more than just scrolling, because you're gonna post content, but you're also gonna interact with it strategically, and you're gonna be cheerleaders for other businesses. And that will definitely show more of your content to other people. Some of the things that styled shoots have led to are really cool other things too. So this is on this artist's Spotify page. Pretty cool. Not wedding. Totally different, but that doesn't mean that I won't have a similar photo of a groom as he's getting ready with his guitar. It's also led to really fun fashion-inspired photo shoots, getting to work with different types of models. And you'll also see, when you're kind of looking through some of these pictures, and I'll show another great example, look at that use of negative space. Why would I want negative space in these pictures? Guesses? Come on, shout out. What's that?
Contrast.
Contrast is good, but that's where the text goes.
Color palette.
Yeah. Color palette's great. That's where you can put text on there, right? I can't be on the cover of a magazine if my image is all the way to the edge. I gotta have room for content and titles. Like the image of the guy. How fun would that be? Like 5 new ways to style your jacket, right? So benefits. One of the biggest benefits to doing these kinds of fun photo shoots and planned style shoots is that you get to prove that you are better than free. Think about it. Better than free. That's what we're competing against, right? You really want to show what you want to sell. I think this is so important, especially in our area. You know, our couples, they want to see in your portfolio, I mean, how many times have you gone to a show and you're like, okay, so this venue, awesome, I've shot there, look at this. And they're like, yeah, I want exactly that. I want a picture by that bridge. Well, how cool is it to be able to say, hey, I want, at this brand new venue, it has a vault, right? So it used to be an old bank. I want pictures to show off that vault. I want to show off that unique bridge that they just put in at this venue that they're super excited about. You want to be able to show those ideas that are new to the brides because they've seen it all. They went to everybody's website, right? So you want to be able to show something unique and different, and you want to show what you want to sell. If you want high-end brides, you got to show high-end wedding images, right? A styled shoot can also lead to other commercial paid gigs. I think this is really important. You know, we all got to pay the bills, right? So I know a lot of times my husband is like, so let me get this straight. You're going outside and photographing pictures of your friend dressed up as Barbie. Yeah, I am. I want to show people what we can do. I want to show these crazy night lights and different things like that. But it's actually led to some really cool things. I'll show you, we did a really fun styled shoot at the Newport Aquarium. I wanted to shoot there more. It was just down the road from where I lived at the time. I wanted to do their bridal show, but I didn't have marketing pieces that showed the Newport Aquarium. So we did a styled shoot. That led to being able